Hi guys, so inflation is upon us and on the stock market, and Warren Buffett is working on a strategy to fight inflation. This is what this video is about. So let's dive straight into it. And as always, we don't beat around the bush. So this is what the market looks these days, a bit of a mixed bag, but mostly red. And Warren Buffett is working on a strategy to make sure that he capitalizes on the stock market. So the first strategy that he's got, and he's got a few, in fact these are 8 tips that I found online, but the first one is in his latest balance sheet. And yes, you can find that on the SEC website, but basically it's very simple. So it's a lot of numbers, but the bottom line here is that the amount of cash is going up. You can see that he had 44 billion in 2020 and he's got instead 65 billion in 2021. And I know that cash is the very thing that is mostly affected with inflation. When inflation gets higher is when cash is less valuable. But there is a very important thing about cash, and Warren Buffett knows secrets about it. In fact, he's gonna take advantage of cash even more. Let me show you what he's got in mind. And this article is a little bit less known. Warren Buffett Berkshire Hathaway plans return to yen bond market. So the bottom line here, this is a very good article by the way, is that the US company, so Berkshire Hathaway, basically Warren Buffett himself, wants to issue a benchmark yen denominated bond offering. So a bond that basically pays, it's for the yen market, basically the Japanese market. And so it's basically trying to borrow money at a very convenient interest rate. And the reason to raise money is to enhance his strategy, which is what this video is mostly about, by the way. So first of all, there was the first step, which is like to gather as much cash as possible. So first of all, there is his business, and the business produces a lot of cash. By the way, you could apply that to your own investment strategy as well. So you kind of pile on cash if you want. And then there is the second strategy, which is to borrow cash, and he can do it safely because obviously he's got his own company and he can issue bonds. We cannot issue bonds, guys, breaking news, I know that, but you can potentially just find a way maybe to borrow some cash, maybe from your family. I'm talking about not to go out get a mortgage, some cash, maybe your parents. I'm not saying you should, this is not financial advice, but if you want to follow what Warren Buffett has got in mind, well, this is one strategy. So with all this cash, what does he want to do? Well, let me show you. And so this is the portfolio of Berkshire Hathaway over the years. And what is interesting, and this is why it's important to understand that, is the amount of information technology, basically tech stocks. The largest part of his portfolio is tech stocks. And so what tech stocks has got Warren Buffett mostly in his portfolio? Well, let's have a look at his portfolio as of now, and I've already sorted it for the biggest position and the most valuable and going down. So the biggest position is Apple. Yes, you might know that because I've talked to you about Warren Buffett's portfolio and his strategy, which I used for my own portfolio as well, but Apple is biggest position of all. And why am I talking about Apple? I know there are not many companies like Apple going out there, but this is all part of the strategy. So first of all, pile the cash. Second step, look for a company that is very good, that has got a very good business model, very good profit, very good margin, and that was Apple. And then attack. Just basically go ballistic on it. And what do I mean by that? Buffett didn't buy Apple on their IPO day. No, absolutely he didn't. He bought it back in 2016. This is what this article is about, and it tells you when. And this is the most important part of his strategy. Well, looking at what happened in 2016, 2015 and 2016, stock market sell-off. Now, this is a crash that not many YouTubers or articles talk about, but this was a very important crash. In fact, if you look at the indexes, it fell 3% in just over 2 months, guys. And what happened to Apple back in those days? Well, I'm gonna just show it to you in 1 second what happened on the chart, but just then understand here that the goal is to make sure you capitalize on a very weak market for all sorts of reasons. On this channel we look at the reasons why the market is weak, and one is the Fed, and obviously the Fed in these days are looking at interest rate increases, and this is the reason why many investors, multiple investors, are looking at the bond market and they're moving the money there. But when there is a big stock market crash is when there is opportunity, and kind of like the opportunity that we had back in 2016. So this is Apple today. So looking at back when we had a bit of a very interesting pullback. So let's have a look at that. So back in 2016, this is more or less where 2016 is. Look at the crash. Look at the crash that Apple had back in the days, a whopping 30% for a company like Apple. Now, based on Warren Buffett's basically entry point, he made a whopping, let's have a look just to see, basically based on this price, which is not exactly what his price, but he made over 500% return, and that is by investing when a stock like Apple crashed down. And so to go over this strategy is very simple. First, try to save as much money as possible. 2, try to leverage your own cash position. Maybe don't take out a mortgage, don't do it for the stock market, because in your case, in my case, you wouldn't want to take out a mortgage and put it in the stock market. It is too risky, so simply do not do it. But you can, as I told you earlier, maybe use some other ways to make more money. And then last step number 3, capitalize on a stock market crash, and especially buy very high quality businesses. Apple is still one of those. It's not a company that is gonna grow as much probably, because back in the days, in 2016, it wasn't the biggest company in the stock market. Well, I might actually be wrong. To be honest, I might actually go and check it after this video, after I finish to record, and I say, Marco, you're an absolute idiot. But you understand that there are other companies that can grow as much, and they are incredibly high quality. And what we see now, and what we're probably gonna see in 2022, is a decent pullback because of the Fed monetary policy, so all the interest rate increases, but also potentially a bit of a sideways action. So it's gonna be a very choppy year, and I'm gonna make video updates so that you stay up to date on what the Fed does. Now, you know that the Fed these days, they are looking at some rate increases, they are not sure, they're doing all sorts of things, and this is just, again, a great time for you to accumulate cash and then wait for the crash. Subscribe for more videos on Warren Buffett. See ya.